Hi, in this video, we're working in section 3.3, working with decimals, and we're going to talk about multiplying decimals. All right, so we have sort of a little process to multiplying decimals. We're going to multiply the numbers as if they were regular whole numbers, and then we're going to find the total number of decimal places. So we'll find decimal places. There's an example here. Decimal places in one number and then add it to the number. So there's 3 decimal places here and 2 decimal places here. So you're going to add up the total number of decimal places in the factors in the problem. And then just going to insert that decimal place. And I had this example here, which is number 1 in the on the worksheet. All right, 2.334 times 3.38. So we're to add up the total number of decimal places, and there's 3 here and 2 here. So there's 5 in all. Now we want to insert those decimal places and insert that decimal starting here and counting in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that's really the process. So multiplying decimals turns out to be one of the not all that much different than multiplying whole numbers. All you really have to do is keep track of the decimal places. So, the problem, of course, is it just means, multiplying. So you have to continue to work towards accuracy and keep, notice the problems, the numbers, that you multiply, when you get something wrong, notice what the 2 digits were. See if you can kind of maybe jot it down on the corner of the inside of your notebook or something like that. And I bet often it's just a couple of pairs of numbers that are challenging. So let's go ahead. We're going to work on this number 2. So we're going to multiply as if there were no decimals. So just multiply as if these are whole numbers. So take a moment if you want. You can work quietly. I'll work quietly. And hopefully we get it right. But that's why we have each other. So okay, so I multiplied, and now I'm going to add down. Okay, so we multiplied as if they were whole numbers, and now we're going to find the total number of decimal places and just count in from the right and add that. So there's 1 decimal place in the first number and 1 decimal place in the second factor. So we want to insert the decimal point starting here, 2. So that's 1 plus 1 is 2, moving over 2. Okay, great. I'm going to check my answer. And then we're going to move on to the next problem, number 3, 18 times 0.5. If you want to continue, I will be right there. Just checking. So happy. We got number 2 right. Good. Okay. So 18 times 0.5. I'm just going to move it over a little so I can reach it more easily. So we can ignore the 0 that's to the left of the decimal point. It is just there sort of to help us recognize the decimal point. So we're going to go ahead and multiply as if there was no decimal. And I get 90. And now we add up the total number of decimal places. The first number has no decimal places, and the second number has 1 decimal place. So just inserting your decimal point right there, 1 over from the right. Okay, so you guys pause the video, work on 4 through 6, and I will meet you back here in just a bit. Okay, so this is a topic which is pretty concise in terms of what we need to practice in multiplying decimals. Pretty much just that one rule that we need to master. So you'll have a little more practice in the My Math Lab as well, but I just wanted to work a little bit again on the order of operations now that we can multiply decimals. So I put down a couple of problems for us to do here, and then you guys can do a couple on your own. Okay, so when you look across here, we see a multiplication and we see an exponential. So using order of operations, we're going to take care of the exponential PEMDAS, that's the E, right? So take care of that exponential first. So 10 to the 4th is 1 with 4 zeros. And if you can't remember that, I also go back and check in my head and I think about that I know that 10 squared, I know these two things, and that gives me that little rule, right? I know 10 to the 1 is 1, and 10 to the 1 is 10, and 10 squared is 100. So that helps me remember that 10 to the 4th is a 1 with 4 zeros. Okay, and now I want to multiply 0.8 times 10,000. Okay, so we're going to multiply it as if there was no decimal points. So we'll write it out here. Just going to multiply that. And now add up the total number of decimal places, and that's 1. And we get 8,000. So I just want to, we'll come back to this as well later on in the videos. But when we're multiplying this decimal, there's 1 decimal place. Okay, when we multiplied it out, we ended up that there was a total of 1 decimal place, so we ended up moving that decimal point. So 0.8 times 10,000 is 8,000. 0.8 of 10,000 is, 8,000. Okay, let's go on to this problem here. Again, order of operation. So you have to figure out which operation goes first. And multiplication comes before, multiplication and division, left to right, come before addition, subtraction, left to right. So we're going to work on this multiplication piece first. And we'll just take this here. 5.8 times 6.9. Okay, take a moment, work quietly. I'll do the same. Be careful. I wish us all accuracy. Okay, I get 40.0, I get 4002. All right, so that's what I got when I just multiplied as if everything was a whole number. Now counting up the total number of decimal places, there's 1 in the first number and 1 in the second, a total of 2 decimal places. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to count over from the right and insert my decimal right there. So it's 40.02. Okay, so you can pause the video here. Let's see. Actually, I guess this video is done. So I will see you in section 3.4, dividing decimals.